The last Tiny Titans review was a surprise hit. It got 100 views in like 2 days. So let's do Tiny Titans 43 and toss all that out the window. I will eventually get to the Mark Wolfenstein ones from the 90s that I bought. But I thought, let's look at this more modern story, since Deathstroke is in it, and he was in the last one. This one has him leading his own team, a team of bad guys, and it's meant to be like his own version of the Tiny Titans. It's his own Tiny Titans team to defeat the real Tiny Titans. Beforehand, I only recognised 3 of them. We have Batgirl, the Cassandra Wayne version, whose character and personality were being put through a meat grinder for some reason. This guy here, he is called Rusk. I didn't know anything about him, but he was from the 90s series, and I recognise him from Justice League versus Tiny Titans. I didn't know why he is a bad guy now. And down here is Green Flask. He was the arch enemy of the Bart Simpson's version of the Flask. I didn't know this prick, but he's like Bizarro Superboy, which I immediately didn't care about, and I was hoping that he would die after 3 panels. This comic is written by John Jeffries, and my John Jeffries patience is at an all-time low. I am fed up of seeing all the pathetic cronyism and brown-nosing people give John Jeffries. He is a mediocre writer at best, and when it comes to Tiny Titans, and Superboy especially, he fucked the pooch. I think that is a saying. We have Tommy Daniels, or at least, so that is summit. And our team is a hodgepodge of great characters and great Tiny Titans characters and badly written great Tiny Titans characters and then just badly written characters. The 3 up here, Robert, Wonder Girl and Goth Girl, they are great Tiny Titans characters, but Robert is a Batman character, so John Jeffries butchers him. Down here we have a bunch of characters like Jersey Devil and Lady Deathstroke, who John Jeffries broke and made into kind of miserable creations that barely even relate to what came before. We also have Sideburns playing the role that John Jeffries made for him of just being the Black One. We also have Jerry Curl and Viv Vision. So we have a Tiny Titans team here that has maybe 1 well-written good character on it, Wonder Girl. The more I think about it, I didn't think John Jeffries, I didn't think he has ever written a story I would describe as one of my favourites or even great. I really didn't get the sad fanboys who scream John Jeffries and bleed John Jeffries. This trio, they are attacked by Green Flask. Did somebody say decompressed? I cannot even remember why I bought this story. Almost immediately, I found myself just not caring. I didn't care about these characters, even though some of them are characters I like. It just felt like I wasn't reading about them. Robert, he is terrible. Goth Girl, she is just a bitch. And John Jeffries, who consistently fails to understand that names do not have to be literal. He transformed Jersey Devil into an actual devil, and he had Lady Deadstroke remove her own eye to be more like Deadstroke. Remember when he took the Captain Marbles, the real one, Biffy Baston, remember when he took the Captain Marbles family and made them into a literal family? And then we have fucking Bizarro Superboy. Superboy, he was a great character. He had 100 issues before John Jeffries decided to make him into a boring Superman copy without a costume. And again, he fails to understand that characters, they can stand on their own. He constantly fails to realise this. He did them things to Jersey Devil and Lady Deadstroke. He had Bart Simpson's abandon his unique identity to make him into Kid Flask. He reduced Willie West into being beholden to Barney Allen. And then he had Superboy be half a clone of Lenny Luthor's. Because he is that dense, he thinks Superboy cannot stand on his own without more ties and links to Superman. And now we have another one. Look, Superboy, he has a Bizarro version. John Jeffries is unimaginative. I've said that before. His Green Lanterns, which everyone praises, his Green Lanterns is embarrassingly unimaginative. He just repeated the same formula over and over again, and those characters lived or died depending on how interesting the designs by the artists were, rather than the strength of there being orange lanterns or pink lanterns. Then we cut away to Viv Vision and Sideburns. They have gone to visit a prison. And look at all that personality John Jeffries instills into Sideburns. They have gone to interrogate a bad guy who they recently fought. But then Deadstroke's team shows up, seemingly to break her out. And Rusk, he is a bad guy, and he has a bad moustache, and he is missing an arm. You see, what happened is Amazon Prime Superboy tore Rusk's arm off, in between graphically killing off 2 other teenagers. Not exaggerating, that is what happened. And then another teenager dies, and Cassandra Wayne slits her throat with a batarang, forever shitting all over Batgirl's character. So there isn't any positivity for me to muster for this scene either. And then Joker's daughter shows up. Is this a prank? Have people lied to me about Joker's daughter being a minor character? Because she has been in about 90% of the Tiny Titans comics I have read. Also, Riddler, he has a daughter now. Very imaginative, John. Just repeating a formula by someone else again. In case you can't guess already, I didn't like this comic. And I'm afraid now that I'm starting to sound like diversity in a comic book, your boy Zeke. I feel like I'm beginning to sound like him when he reviews death metal. So let me properly say that I didn't like this comic because it is a bunch of great characters written badly and selfishly by a weak writer who was bigged up by sycophants and DC. There is no idea in here that isn't derivative or plain bad. Also, if you went looking for that review, that awful review Diversity in a Comic Book did of Christmas on Infinite Earths, well, it turns out he deleted it. I would guess what happened was most of the comments on it were just reaming him for offering such an abysmal critique. And Diversity in a Comic Book, your boy Zeke, well, he is a super mega cook snowflake, so he deleted it because they hurt his feelings. Just like he deleted his lawsuit because he is a knee-bending fake fangirl. So, Jersey Devil, right? You probably didn't know Jersey Devil, had they? He was just this goofy kid. He was a kid who wanted to be a superhero. He ran around in a red costume and he hung with Blue Demon. He was like his kid sidekick. He didn't have any powers. He was just a boy in a costume. He was never an actual devil or evil demon. Well, now he is literally a Jersey Devil. Why? Well, because John Jeffries, he can only repeat formulas or make things literal. This here is just a different character. Why take this otherwise grounded and light-hearted character and then just make them into a miserable gargoyle thing? He gets his arse kicked. All this issue does is set up these bad guys by, rather than writing a story with them or offering them unique character arcs or motivations, just showing them beat up the main characters with absolute ease. And then at the end, Deathstroke, he ties Robert up and he offers a speech about how the Tiny Titans, they took his children from him, how the Tiny Titans are responsible for their deaths, which is the one Deathstroke story bad writers tell over and over again. It is like the Deathstroke equivalent of having Captain Atomant be a big walking bomb threat. And Batgirl, she is a junkie now. I have given some positive reviews to John Jeffries comics before, but I think Tiny Titans is one of his absolute worst. This was, like a lot of his career, vanity posturing. He wanted to have the definitive run on Tiny Titans. And he does have the definitive run because it's the only one DC will keep in print and offer a billion different versions of. Of course, I didn't recommend this. If you put a creator on a pedestal and refuse to accept that they do not always write good comics automatically, or that people like me cannot possibly dislike them, then you are only a few rungs up the ladder from diversity in a comic book in my mind. I'm getting really opinionated and pissy about comic book fans, aren't I? This is one of them comics people who have never read a Tiny Titans comic before will think is brilliant. And that is all you need to be DC's top priority talent. That's the best I can say of this. 7 thumbs up.